Hello and welcome to the 10th and final part in the Man and Machines Fusion Zero to Hero series. And throughout the last 9 episodes that you've probably seen, taken from an introduction all the way through to machining extensions, modeling, advanced modeling, all those different elements, Cameron and Robin have done a fantastic job in terms of bringing something to life that's realistic in terms of what you'd use inside of Fusion. My name is Nathan Brownsword. I'm the Sales and Marketing Director for Man and Machine. I probably have the easier part in talking to you about actually what have you, where do you go from here in terms of with the Fusion software and being able to use it. Cameron's done a fantastic job throughout all of the videos, and I know Robin has supported as well, be it when we've actually visited Autodesk Manufacturing Centre up in Birmingham to create our main show reel, which I'm sure you've seen. If you haven't, please take a look. And then also in terms of actually giving you bite-sized chunks inside of Fusion. Now, for anyone that's new to Fusion or has been using it for a shorter period of time, Fusion's always been seen as a hobbyist tool, and I think that's starting to change in terms of what people have started to use inside of Fusion because maybe the price point or what it can do, and actually it's been taken a lot more seriously by organisations that we're working with, that we're currently supporting, and especially when it's been seen with more, I suppose, traditional or long-standing softwares in the market. So Fusion is something that actually has a wealth of capability. If you look at what Autodesk are trying to do with Fusion, it's one of their core personas that has been speaking about for the last year or so. Fusion, Forma, and Flow. Fusion is the design and manufacturing persona, and that's meant that there's been a lot of development that goes into the program. We were actually visited much earlier in the year by Autodesk to actually record one of our sessions at another one of our events, our virtual summit that we run every year. And it's really interesting to hear from the development team and the product specialists when they're talking about weekly updates. Now, I don't know of any other vendor or software, especially with Autodesk as well, where we've actually seen that. So there's a lot of development and a lot of effort going into the program, which is really good to see. So why did we actually do this series? If you speak to Cameron and Robin, and I've been keeping a close eye on in terms of what they've actually been delivering, it's fantastic to see. But we actually felt that it was important to show you a real world scenario. So we took an impeller. I know that Robin introduced that at the very start of our series. And we wanted to bring an actual real world scenario, a real life element or product that could be modeled, then could be machined, and ultimately then produced right at the very end. So we wanted to do that and actually show you that rather than it being some, I don't know, it could be a part which you're never ever going to make in your life. It's something that's actually quite tangible and it's realistic, and it's really interesting to see how Fusion is able to cope with that. And I know Robin and Cameron had that in mind and that objective set when they went into producing all the different videos within our series. So we wanted to show you that actually Fusion is able and has had a lot of development put into it, into the program, to actually produce the drawings and the CAD designs, but also in terms of machining and the manufacturing part, and is able to handle things that are probably more familiar to yourself. So if you don't know too much about Fusion, now what we've shown you is predominantly inside of the actual basic or Fusion standard, as you want to call it, license. But there's actually 5 different extensions that are available to you, depending upon what you're trying to do. Whether that's from the design side, manage, or all the way through to simulation and machining, there's separate different elements there and different extensions that you can use to really get the most out of the program. Now, I often find it's quite hard for an individual to just pick up a piece of software, no matter what the price point. I appreciate that Fusion is at the lower end in terms of some of the software programs that you typically associate within the market. However, what often is the misconception is you can just pick it up and actually play with it. Now, Fusion's quite a sophisticated bit of kit, and it's really important that, from my point of view, and I go out and see customers regularly, and for any investment you make, no matter how small or large, it's important you get the most out of that program, be it the efficiencies or actually just being able to ensure that you're producing the quality of drawing and part at the end of it. That's really important to all of the team at Man and Machine. to make sure that you are really producing that level or that quality of product that you're after. So when that you start to play that or start to have that in mind, it's important that we start to look at the enablement and the training that goes with it. Now I know that in terms of, I've said it already, the Fusion price point, it can also typically draw you to just buying the software and go, right, I'm going to follow a load of YouTube videos. But as Robin and Cameron have showed, and they've done it very well in terms of creating bite-sized chunks, too often we start to see people that will spend hours and hours and hours going through content and videos on YouTube, and ultimately they're looking at something that's just not familiar or not really relevant to you. So Cameron and Robin have done something which hopefully will give you a real inkling or confidence that it can do what you're after. But when it comes to the training side, I don't think there's never a substitute to actually doing some sort of training. Now, it doesn't have to always be a set 3-day course, 4-day course, 5-day course, whatever it may be. You could start to do a blend of different things that Man and Machine can offer. Whether that's actually looking at doing an initial workshop so we can understand maybe where you are, what you're doing, what you're trying to produce, almost like actually use it as a bit of a proof of concept and start to get confidence with some of the features so that it can do what you're after. That's often a really good test bed for customers that we work with. If you're trying to use it for more basic parts or very new to Fusion, then it might be a case of actually you look to subscribe or use one of the licenses from our e-learning platform. When I say one of the licenses, it's an individual license. You subscribe to it for a year. It's actually, from a cost point of view, more cost effective than a typical license of Fusion. So it gives you a really nice access to some videos and content that Man and Machine have created. It's not content that we've taken from elsewhere. It's videos and tutorials that Robin, Cameron, and the rest of the technical team have developed. So you have a mix of not only short videos that are typically no longer than 5 minutes long. There might be the odd one in there that's a little longer in terms of 10 minutes or so. But then that's got a really nice, or it's complemented really nicely with text, interactive pictures, knowledge checks. But more importantly, you also have a search function which you can go into and use it as an encyclopedia to support you day to day. And that's really important because I think that if you've got anyone in your team or maybe from your experiences you're watching this video, when you're trying to learn a program, you want to get the answer to your question straight away. If you don't, then you start to feel or you start to have less confidence in that product and its capability. The capability is there. It's not always, I suppose, the understanding or having the skill to use it properly. So it's important that you have something or a tool that's able to support that. Within our e-learning platform, we've got a whole host of different Fusion videos. As you can imagine with the series that we've created from the zero to hero, going from a very basic understanding of Fusion and getting to a much further, deeper, greater look at the product, we have got a whole wealth of different features and modules in there that can really support you. So the e-learning platform is really good. I appreciate that every organisation is different. So whilst I'm saying that there's an option here, you can do a workshop, you can do e-learning, you can do a standard course. What I'm trying to say is every business is different. We can help you as much or as little as you want, but ultimately we want to help you fulfil your goals. And whether you look to do that over, say, a couple of weeks, couple of months, or it's a slightly longer time scale, then there's things that we can do for you to support you. And when I say support as well, we also have a support desk as well that can actually help you in terms of if there's problems or break fixes and so on with the program. So really, my part for in this the 10th and the final episode of the Zero to Hero campaign was to talk about actually how do you bring this to life. And now with the training that we have available, with the videos that Rob and Cameron have created, and also all of the other bits which we have on offer, especially, like I'll say it again, our e-learning platform, we can start to bring you and give you the confidence step by step to take or to put you on the right path. Now, how do you do that? Now, I would always typically say that it's best for us to understand you than for you to understand the product, because you can spend quite a lot of time trying to really delve into a lot of detail. We created the Zero to Hero campaign to give you an overview of the full capability. I appreciate we can go into greater depth in certain features and functions, but what I would say is to actually recommend having a meeting with one of the team, for us to understand in terms of your workflows, the way that you want to operate, and ultimately we can create a roadmap or a plan how to get you there. So feel free to get in touch with the team. They're really happy to help, and I know we're finding a growing amount of users with Fusion. It's really started to take or started to really gather pace over the last couple of years, and it's an opportunity for you to actually look at where you are now, where the organization wants to get to. And typically we find a lot of consolidation within some legacy programs or products that are probably just a little bit too or they're a little bit too past or too far past what you're trying to use them for. So get in touch with the team and feel free to ring us, to call us, or to drop us an email, and we can hopefully help you use Fusion more meaningfully. Thank you.